million a firm on average. Now we have the final 4 or 5 are at $125 million. So I have a lot of legal fees I can
Am I
give
streaming?
to these people.
Hold
But, and we might.
Hang on a second. I've been having issues with the stream, guys, on YouTube, and I think I figured it out, but I can't tell if I'm streaming. Let's see. No, don't do that. Don't do that. What can I do? Oh, it looks good. Oh, man, I am live. Thanks, Dirge. Okay. Well, Trump's talking to the cabinet right now.
This will use them. Hopefully I won't need that many legal fees or that much. I may. Who knows? After it ends, after we leave, maybe I'll need it. But if I do, it's not going to be very pleasant. So I think we're going to try to use these very prestigious firms to help us out with the trade, because we have a lot of countries, but we want to make deals that are proper for the United States. Not just we can make deals easily. We want to make them proper.
Mr. President, if you aren't able to reach the deals that you want to see at the end of the 90 days,
can you hear it?
Can you hear
the video?
Well, that's what would happen. I mean, if we can't make the deal that we want to make, or we have to make, or that's good for both parties, it's got to be good for both parties.
You wouldn't.
And then we go back to where we were.
You go back to the numbers that you announced last week.
I think so.
You wouldn't extend the pause.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens at that time.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said yesterday you were considering some exceptions for companies. Can you talk about what you're considering, and then also on the reciprocal tariffs, that it'd be substantially lower? Is the same math formula going to be used, or is that tossed out?
I'm not considering now for any country or company, but it's possible that I would. But I'm not. We don't have that situation right now. People understand where we are, what we're going to do, but it could happen. It's called flexibility. You have to have certain flexibility.
What are you planning on using the money that you're gaining for revenue through the tariffs on?
Paying down national debt, reducing taxes, creating good budgets, helping Christie with the border and all of the other things. I built hundreds of miles of wall, as people now understand, 571 miles of border wall in the first administration. But we're going to beef it up, and we're going to add more. And the numbers are incredible. Really, the numbers are what's taken place. We had great numbers, but these numbers are topping my last administration. And Christie and Tom Homan have done an amazing job, but it's an expensive process. This weekend, where they used to have hundreds of thousands
are you saying
of
it's
people
pronounced
standing
Dirge?
through the border in Tijuana, Mexico. This weekend,
I
they had
apologize
nobody.
for my
You had a man sweeping this massive
mispronunciation.
piece of concrete, which is the area where they said massive. And I've looked at that during the Biden administration. You couldn't see a piece of that concrete. There were so many people on it. You couldn't, if you had helicopter shots, you couldn't see concrete. Now, this weekend, you had nobody there but a man with a broom sweeping it and cleaning it up. Pretty amazing. It's really an amazing job. But it will be used for that. It'll be used for a lot of things. It'll be used by the Department of Justice for doing a great job. Pam is doing a fantastic job. So it's going to be used for a lot of different things.
Mr. President, on the 10% tariff, is that a basement? Is that the
It's a
floor?
baseline.
Can countries negotiate that to bring that
It depends
down?
on what they're adding. Some countries we have massive deficits with, or they have big surpluses with us, and others it's not that way. So it depends. That's why it's really
Tariffs
all,
and
they're all
deficits
different.
are
Every country is
not
different.
the same thing.
Some have certain advantages that others don't have, and certain things. We have some. China has a surplus of $1 trillion. I mean, the numbers are crazy, and others have basically no surpluses. We have some that are pretty even.
We buy a lot from
But
China.
they hurt us in other ways, and we just want to get that taken care of. So Everyone is a little bit different.
So
Yes,
are you negotiating
yeah.
with, are you negotiating with the EU as one bloc or individual nations for the tariffs?
We're looking at it as one block. They've been very tough, but they were very smart. They were ready to announce retaliation, and then they heard about what we did with respect to China and others, but China. And they said, we're going to hold back a little bit.
It's
They
true.
decided to hold back. I thought they were very smart. Look, the EU is very smart.
There was news about the
But they
EU
really
planning
have taken
to
advantage
do
of the
retaliatory
United States. They were
tariffs, but
formed
then all the
for
stuff with
purpose of
China
taking
started
advantage of
happening.
The United States. And I don't blame them, and I don't blame China. I don't blame anybody. I blame the people that were sitting.
Uh-oh, guys. Uh-oh, guys. Man, stream problems on my first stream. Let's just see if this will connect. Oh, it did.
Sitting at that desk in that other beautiful Oval Office
Fixed.
for allowing it to happen. Many presidents.
It's a one-man show here,
They
guys.
should have never
So,
allowed it to happen. And I'm doing
what if I
something that a
move
lot of
me
them wouldn't want to
over
do.
here? Oh.
But I'm here. I do those things, and we're going to make this country great again. We were taken advantage of by almost everybody. I sat back in the last administration. I would actually read them. I don't have to read them now. I know them so well. I would read some of these documents that were signed, deals, and I said, who would do a deal
Here, I
like
can make it
this?
look like maybe he's
Who
talking to
would
me.
do it? You've seen it, Elon.
Yeah.
I'd look at deals where it's so one-sided. Even we have a deal with Japan, and we get along great with Japan, and we had the Prime Minister here. He was fantastic. As you know, Abe was great. Shinzo was great. He was a good friend of mine, unfortunately no longer with us. But we defend them, but they don't have to defend us. I said, that doesn't sound too good. But we have a deal where a defense deal. We pay hundreds of billions of dollars to defend them. But if for any reason, in other words, we pay all the money. They don't pay anything. But if we're ever attacked, they don't have to do a thing to protect us. I said, well, that sounds like a wonderful deal. So that's just one out of thousands. And I just wonder who did this. And it's people that either hate our country or didn't care, an expression that you use. I think it's really a lot of them didn't care. It's just hard to believe how bad they are. Now that's a little bit of a defensive deal, but I'm talking about trade deals, the same thing. They're so bad.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
would
we
say, how
are.
and even
The
when I'd
United States is the
renegotiate,
most powerful country in the world.
I'd
We
go to a country, they'd give
protect
me everything I
people
asked for.
who may not
I said, why
necessarily
didn't
be
somebody
able to
ask for it,
protect
like,
us in
originally? They give
return.
me everything.
Obviously.
I think when they were negotiating, they didn't care, or they didn't ask, or they were shy, or they were very
Or they just
stupid,
had more
or
compassion, probably.
They hate our country. Yeah, go ahead,
I
Jeff.
don't know if they hated our country.
Can you clarify what your vision is for U.S. Steel? You referenced it yesterday.
Yeah.
There's some questions
Yeah.
about what you actually want to
Sure.
see out of
Look,
that.
U.S. Steel is going to do very well now because of tariffs, and I don't know why they even need a deal. But the only thing is, U.S. Steel. If you go back 80 or 90 years, that was a behemoth in this. That was our biggest, most. If we were around, we would have been very proud of it. Today, we have different types of companies that are big. Google. It's not the same as U.S. Steel, and I love Google, and I got to like the people that run it. They're very capable people. They didn't like me so much in the first administration, but they like me a lot now. I don't know what happened, but I like them. But I think they would be the first to admit when I envisioned. You look at some of those steel factories from 90 years ago. We were it was a different kind of a country, but they were miles long. Today you see just empty hulks. Those hulks are going to be filled up very soon because of what I'm doing with tariffs. It was a different kind of a thing. But if I didn't do that in the first term, my first term, if I didn't put tariffs on, we would have, because China and others were dumping steel, billions of dollars of steel. Our steel companies were all closing. Every fact, we wouldn't have one steel plant open. And now we have a steel industry that's doing very well, but soon it's going to be thriving, really thriving. And those factories are going to be filled up, but more importantly, they're going to build brand new ones. Nucor and so many other companies call me, Nucor being a big steel company, They're building massive new steel plants, and it's great. And likewise, car companies. We have many car companies. 3 of them. I'm not looking to hurt Mexico, and I like Mexico. And by the way, I think the new president is a terrific person, a fantastic woman. We've had many conversations. She's a very elegant, just a fantastic person.
Interesting.
And she's been very nice, very, very nice. But I'm not looking to hurt them. But we have 3 car plants that were under construction in Mexico. They stopped constructing, and now they're going to build in the United States because of tariffs. See, we should have never let this happen, because whoever it was that was president at the time, we lost 90,000 plants and factories since NAFTA. 90,000. It's not believable. How about that, Laura? You know, you're in that sort of world of factories
We're going
and
to build back
plants.
manufacturing, construction jobs, bring those workers back home.
That's right, we're going to bring them all back. But think of it, from that period of time, which isn't so long ago, we lost. I said the other day, if you had a map on a big wall like this, and if you had pins, 90,000, I don't know if you'd have enough. I don't think you'd have enough room on the map to put the pins. 90,000 factories that we've lost since NAFTA. And it's not even, and about 6 million jobs, but really, I think probably a lot more than that, but they say 6 million jobs. We're going to bring many of that back. I think we're going to bring more than all of it back. We're going to be better and stronger than ever.
More
before.
than all of it?
If a president, when they were leaving, said, look, you can leave, but if you're going to build a factory someplace else, and you think you're going to come and sell your steel or your car or any product that you make, your pharmaceuticals, which we're going to do, we're going to get them all back. But if you think you're going to just, all they had to do is say this, and they wouldn't have left. You know, I said it the other day. I said it with respect to, I made a speech a year ago, and I told them if I win, we're going to charge a big, big tariff at the border. And people were thinking about building in Mexico a car plant. And I said, we're going to have a big tariff. So if you want to build a car, you're going to have to pay 25% more than the cost of that car. You're going to have to pay 25% tariff at the border. They would have never left. They could have kept everybody. If a president said, if you leave this country, you leave Michigan, you leave Detroit, you leave anybody, any of our states, because to me they're all the same. I love them all. I love them all. Well, I probably won them all. But they say I won most of them, but I think I won them all. But that's okay. But all you had to say if you were the president is, if you leave and you think you're going to now fire all those workers, leave all that, everything behind, and you're going to build in another country and sell it and no, you're not going to. You're going to pay 50% or 100% tariff. They would have never left. And all you had to say, Marco, all you had to say very simply is, you don't have to write it down. All you have to do is say it verbally. If you leave, you're going to pay 100% tariff. Therefore, don't leave. They would have never left. But they left 90,000 plants. I mean, it's hard to
Well,
believe that
yeah,
many.
obviously, if there were
you can't
no
envision
tariffs,
it.
that's different
So
than if
just
there are
getting
tariffs.
back to your, because I'm the great weaver of all time. To weave, you have to be a genius. To go on tangents, anybody can do that. But we'll get back to your original U.S. Steel. U.S. Steel is
To weave, you have to be a
a big
genius.
name in this country. Babe Ruth is a big name. We have a lot of big names, but not too many. U.S. Steel is one of the great names in the history of our country. And normally I wouldn't mind so much. I wouldn't be thrilled with it. But to buy for a foreign country, and we love Japan, but for a foreign country to buy that cherished U.S. Steel brand, that's hard for me to do. And maybe somebody else may want it. The company Nippon that's involved with it is a big, powerful company who do a good job. But why can't they just build a plant themselves? I mean, why do they have to, take U.S. Steel? So as you know, I rejected the deal.
Because it's cheaper.
Now they've come back in a different form. They're coming back as an investor. And, I feel better about that, I guess. But, I know them very well. I know the thinking. It's the
That seems good.
investor. They'll invest, and somebody else maybe is sitting in this chair, and they will no longer have an investment. They'll have the whole thing. That's the way it works. Very smart. They're very, very smart people. We're dealing with very smart
Wait a
people
second.
throughout the world. Great geniuses.
You just say that he
Look what they've
assumes
done
that
to our
they'll
country.
still eventually
And
own the
again,
company?
I don't blame China.
They
I
just-
don't blame anybody.
Or they're just coming back
If
as
I
investors,
could've
but they'll
done it if I
probably
were
invest and own
in
the
that
whole
position,
company eventually.
I'd have great respect. I have great respect for the people. They ripped off the United States, and all we had to do have a president that knew what the hell was going on, and none of those countries would have left. Those companies, none of them would have left. So that's a little lesson in basic business, and it's really basic business. It's not complicated business. It's very basic business. And we'd have every one of those car plants going just the way they were 30 years ago. None of them would have
It's
left. Now
basic
they're coming
business, but it's not basic global trade economics.
Yeah.
What's sort of your initial reaction?
back. I think it's terrible. I just heard it from Lori, and I appreciate it, and you heard it from Elon's people, right?
That's right.
Elon's done a fantastic job. Look, he's sitting here, and I don't care. I don't need Elon for anything other than I happen to like him. But I'm telling you, this guy did a fantastic job. I don't need his car.
Don't
I
need him
actually
for
bought
anything.
one because, and they said, "Oh, did you get a bargain?" No, I said, "Give me the top price." I paid a lot of money for that car. But honestly, he makes a great car.
You think
know
Trump
what I do
paid?
with it? I let the people in the office drive around in it.
Okay.
Margot, and Natalie, they're all, Chamberlain, they're all driving around the most beautiful car. It's gorgeous. But I did that as a sign of, just a show of support. Numerous people have done that. Just a show of support. Because, you know, he's done a fantastic job, but he hasn't been treated properly.
The unemployment.
Hasn't been treated properly, yeah.
Mr. President, can you talk to us about your communications with China? Has President Xi reached out at all since the tariff?
Well, I don't want to say who's reached out. I just say that I think it's going to work out, hopefully well.
Including TikTok?
They're very big. It's hard to get over, if you're me, what they've done to our country. They've
What happened with
destroyed
Doge
our
anyway? Did they
economic
just
base
stop
to a
finding
large
things?
extent. The good news is we're very
Haven't,
vibrant.
haven't heard any big
and we're gonna get
bombshell
it back
finds
fast.
from
We already
Doge
have.
in a
Look,
while.
We're making $2 billion a day now, and during Biden, we were losing $3 billion a day. Biden was a disaster. He was the worst president in the history of our country. And you know, to me, worse than that, because the money you can make if you have the right guy in this position, worse than that was what they did on the border. By allowing the jails of the world, not South America, all over the world, to be opened up so that we take everybody from Africa, Asia, South America, Europe.
We take people from all those places. To
The
be
bad
clear,
ones.
they are not
They
all
opened
from
up their jails.
jails.
And they dumped them in the United States. And now
It's
this
kind of a ridiculous
beautiful
hyperbole.
young woman who seems to be, boy, she loves what she does, though. I think she loves what she does because she's a patriot. She hates to see it. And Tom and all the people. But for us to spend, you know, hundreds of billions of dollars this is just, I don't know. They either hated the country. Who would do this? Who would want millions of people to pour through an open border? We have no idea who the hell they are. And just walk right through. And half of them, whether you like it or not, you could look at them and you could say, they are not going to help us. These are some rough people. But they'd empty out their jails.
You
and
should
they'd
not
empty out
judge
their mental
people by what they
institutions,
look like.
insane asylums.
Just
And they let them into the United States.
so we're all on the same page. That's
And
just not the
inflation we
best
can
way.
fix. And all of the other things we can fix. We'll get it going. But this is something, it's such a horrible thing, and it's really hard. You know, we have to do deportations. Now we're doing self-deportation.
While I was trying to
We're
figure
coming
out
up
all
with
the streaming
sorts of
stuff,
ideas.
there was
And they must have known
somebody mentioned
it's not
that
gonna work out well.
he's had 2
And, you know,
consecutive
we
months
want
of like the
people to come into our
lowest
country, by the way. We need them badly for
illegal
the jobs.
immigrant
But we want
entry
them to come in
ever,
legally. They
which
have to come
is
in legally.
that's
They have
great.
to show that
That's
they
good.
can love our
Limiting
country.
that
Thank you very
is
much,
obviously
everybody.
objectively
Thank
good.
you.
Oh, I talked over you.
Thank you very much.
President, Democrats are making allegations about market manipulation yesterday.
Thank you.
People are still trying to ask questions. All right.
An emergency.
Well, this was my first attempt at a YouTube stream. Now that I know that I can do it, I'll do it better next time. So thanks for joining me, the 9 or 10 of you that are here. Thanks for giving a shit. And, you know, tell your friends to subscribe to the fucking news.